Well, I tell you something. Federico and I met each other on the shore, and we were introduced by a good friend of ours named Steve Quinto. And we had dinner, and I showed him. I had just written this short film, and I showed it to Federico, and I said, you know, I'd like to make a short film. Would you take a look at it? And he looked at it, and the next day I get this email from Steve, a forward, saying, I love it, let's do it. And 3 months later, we were on set, and we were making the short film. And I had said to Federico, I said, listen, you don't know me. I said, I'm a loyal guy. I said, this is a litmus test for me. If I have a good time, we're going to make this feature. And if we have a good time together, we're all going along for the ride. And he said, oh, yeah. And I'm sure he's heard it 1,000 times. And we had the short film. When we made the feature, almost everyone from the short is in the feature. And I say this in all honesty, Federico and I have been on the same page about what the story is about since day one. We've never had an argument. He never said, you know what, this is how we're going to do it. And I said, well, I don't think so. I think we should go this way. We have a great relationship because I write it and he sees it and he says, this is how I'm going to shoot it and I want to do it this way. I think that's beautiful. So we have never once ever had a crossword. We've never once had a disagreement on how the film or the story should go. It has been an absolute pleasure to be with him. And I'll tell you something, I consider him a close friend for not only myself, but my family, my extended family. And like Artie said, you know, I talk to Artie. I talk to John Bianco. I talk to Danny Margata. I talk to all these guys. We spend time together because we're all, you know.
Mike, you're gonna make me cry. Come on.
No. It's the God's honest truth. It's the God's
No, that's a great thing, though. That is
Can I tell you
camaraderie. It's basically you're describing.
John wants to say one thing.
John, hey, John, I forgot.
It's about time. It's about time. I'm sitting here. I'm on hold on the phone for Mike. I'm going to show him something. No, but what Mike is saying is absolutely true. I met Mike through my friend TJ Sansone, who also produced The Brooklyn Banker. And since day one, we just clicked. I was in the short, and I mean, like making a movie with your friends it's family, and it's a whole different ball.
We call it on the fire department. We called it camaraderie.
Yeah,
I can't spell it.
Yeah, I can't spell that either. I never wanted to.
Johnny don't even know what it means. So
I know what it is. Your camaraderie.
Right, hey, John.
Something like comedy.
I'm from Brooklyn. I don't know. We don't
Camaraderie, not kumar.
Well, don't go there now. Don't go there.
But I mean,
that was the only big word we used on the fire
That's our
department.
friend. That's our friend.
That's how we knew.
But really, I mean, just working on that film, especially on that film with Federico directing, and I mean, it was just incredible, you know, because when you're working with friends, it's just you feel a lot more comfortable.
And actually, John played a really interesting role in the short. He played. It was a 1940. It takes place in 1973, right? And we had a flashback to 1940s, and he played the priest, who was originally, you know, a street guy, a mob guy, who ultimately becomes a priest at the end. And so, you know, he was so convincing, so great, and really it was just like a cameo that you did, and it was really powerful, you know.
And Arthur Nascarella played the priest,
Nascarella,
actually played the priest in the feature.
That's right. He reprises his role on the feature.
And then when I wrote one of the roles for the head Wiseguyz son-in-law, you know, there wasn't anyone we went to other than John to play that role. There was never cast.
Right.
So it really, you know, we've all been great friends, and it's been an honor for me to be able to go on this ride with them. And now the culmination is the movie coming out all this week.
I can't even imagine, because just so you know, I mean, I know I was a fireman, but I did send myself through New York University for film production and stuff, and I learned, and I saw, you know, what you had to do to make a film and everything, and then to hear it all, it's all making sense, everything I learned and everything we were taught in school, and
You actually...
and the feeling must be amazing, because you were the writer. And if I'm not mistaken, most stuff that's written nowadays is not easily picked up to make movies.
Well, Freddie actually, he created a documentary for the Newark Firemen.
Yeah, that was my first project.
Amazing documentary. Newark, and I learned that Newark was one of the first, right? In the coal country.
One of the busiest per square mile.
Let me just tell you something about that documentary. Everybody knows how to break into a place now. You know the garage doors when they pull them down?
Those are
you guys showed how to break it with a pole. Everybody's going, oh, I know how to break. What's that Freddy's documentary? Give me that. Hey, Joey, this is how you break in. They were showing how to break in with a crowbar. You got gates down your place, and you're breaking in because they're his goddamn place. His place.
That's okay.
It's because of you.
John,
Calm down. Calm down.
get back to John.
Okay.
I don't think we can hear you. You gotta turn the volume up.
Definitely.
Johnny Salami, everybody.
When I was breaking, people were breaking in because of you.
I just want to throw out one shout out to another great actor that's in this movie, and that's David Proval.
Yeah.
David Proval,
What a
he's
brilliant
the
actor.
kind of guy, and I think all of us will attest to, he would sit down with you and just talk about anything, give you little hints here and there that really aren't necessary. Some guys don't take that time out, but he was like a wonderful, wonderful person.
He really was. Yeah.
We had I tell you something, David was so good. David had starred in a play that I wrote called Queen for a Day. And that was after we shot
Right.
Brooklyn Banker.
Yes.
But when
I have
David
information
came,
about that.
he wasn't on every day. So you're staggering his days. David would come down to set every day to hang out with everybody. That's how much he loved being on set. So one story that Artie had told me is we're shooting a scene in one of the social clubs where Santo is playing cards and David comes in to talk to him. And Artie, who's a straight guy in the movie, is sitting there. And he doesn't have any words. He's just kind of sitting at a table. And David walks in and he leans over to him and he whispers, he says, "Hey Artie, do you remember when we were kids?"
He didn't even say Artie.
No.
The cameras were
Say
being
Philly.
changed. You mind if I
Go ahead,
just say
please.
that?
I don't want to sell
You know, only, it was a dead time. Federico's doing whatever, and he comes over to me. And my character was Philly, and he says,
Fighting with you.
"Hey Philly, remember when you used to play basketball? You used to throw me the ball. You know how he has that nasal thing. And I used to throw the ball over the fence. Remember that?" And he pats me and he walks away.
No, he was like, no, I don't remember that.
He could have said Artie. He could have said Artie, but he was talking to me as a character. He put in my head how I was going to imagine him or think of him when he came walking through the door, and I didn't have a line at all.
Oh wow.
So and it helped him as well.
Right.
So when he came through, instead of me like looking at him like, "Who's this guy?" I'm saying to myself, "There he is, that son of a bitch." You know, whatever. But that was during a dead time in the production. He didn't have to do that. I mean,
Well,
he was
that's
wonderful.
very
He-
cool.
Well,
That's
he's a wonderful
really
human
adding
being.
subtext to what.
wonderful.
How long of a production was it? Do you?
I think we shot for 21 days.
21
Five
so
days
we had
on, 2
probably
days off.
6 weeks of pre-production. Then we
Oh, yeah.
shot, right? And then
Actual
and then
shooting was about 6 weeks.
So you're the next Woody Allen?
No.
Come on.
Come on, tell the truth.
He's the
I'm
only
the
white.
Wait a minute,
Next
there's
Italian
Chinese girl now.
No.
The next
I'm the
Italian
next-
Woody
I'm
Allen?
gonna tell you something.
The next
I'm
Italian.
the next
Oh,
writer
okay.
for Federico Castelluccio. If I can do that.
I gotta talk to you. I got a script. I got a
Wait
script.
a minute.
I got a script.
Let's say this.
It's real short.
Let's say this. I can honestly say this from my heart. This is, I'm very proud to say this, an Italian-American great writer. Watch out, America and the rest of the world.
Michael Wiseguyz.
Michael Wiseguyz.
By the way, you don't stand up because you got a small smoke up your ass.
So is there not to change the subject, but anything in the future coming up? Any ideas?
Well, I've written half the sequel to the Brooklyn Bank.
Oh, wow,
which
that's
is
nice.
good. And I have 2 plays. One called Phelan House, one called Godless, and we've actually started to go out to try and cast Queen for a Day, which was the off-Broadway.
So lawyer, no more lawyer.
Well, listen, we still got to pay the bills.
All right. Now let's ask what kind of lawyer. What kind of lawyer are you?
Mostly real estate zoning.
Oh, so the criminal guys don't. You guys don't need them because they're all texting me. You got a lawyer?
Would you like to advertise yourself at all? No. Okay.
Because we have a sponsor, the anklebracelet.com.
Hey John, let's get back to John Bianco for
Yeah.
a minute. You also have done some writing. I overheard stuff on the set that you guys talked about in the past. You've written stuff together?
Yeah, actually we did. We
Right after we did the short.
That's right.
We wrote Shades of Death.
We wrote Shades of Death Road. Yeah,
That's what I was overhearing.
That's something that eventually, I would love to get.
That
done.
was fun. Writing with someone else, I'd never done that before.
Yeah, I've never done that either.
And we had a great, like I said, there's a great camaraderie
Yeah.
between us. So it's very easy because you're on the same page and you're able to talk to each other and bounce ideas.
Storytelling.
And you're not pulling and tugging, you're just getting the best story.
Right.
And it worked out great. And it's
It
we
was
have to follow
interesting
that
because,
way.
like he said too, I never wrote with anybody else before either, and you know, after writing that, throwing it to Mike, and then
Well,
coming
the
back.
reason why I picked that up is when I came to the set, Federico would never invite me unless he knew I was serious.
Well, that's the type of guy.
Well, I walked onto the set and I studied everybody, the neighborhood. I was telling Michael Brasigliano, I studied everybody in the neighborhood, the extras that grew up in the neighborhood. I got a private tour of the entire stage in pieces in the church. The guy goes, you know what, I'm not really supposed to bring you down there, but because I was really inspired. You know, Nola, where San Paolino, the celebration of San Paolino, Nola is basically the
Near
city
Naples.
right
Yeah.
next to, actually right next to the town that my father's from, Baiano in Italy.
Oh.
So immediately I made a connection. Nola, I was in Nola when I went to Baiano, you know, by the train. So then he was telling me the story, and I can honestly say that this film, and it's got so many dimensions to it. The story, I just kept seeing, and I told Federico a few times, I said, Federico, there's so many dimensions that this film has. It's just going to be unbelievable. This is going to be timeless. One day, hopefully not for hundreds of years, that feast is going to be over with. And it's still, the other day came on.
You know, one of the things in the
Celebrate.
film, and you're right, because in the film we talk about 1973, that area started changing. It was an Italian area, and it started changing where different nationalities are coming into it. 2010 going on, Williamsburg, the gentrification that's happening there now, where that whole area is changing. I mean,
It's all yuppies. It's all yuppies.
It's all, well, I mean, in 1973, you could buy a house for $5 grand. I mean, you can't touch a house for less than $1 million and a half now there. I mean, the Resiglianos are the only family that walked out of there with nothing. Everyone else that lives there is selling out, forget
it was
about
a
it.
pain in the
right?
ass trying to find wide shots, because they're building, they're putting up new buildings
Oh, wow.
everywhere.
All the new
We can
stuff.
only shoot actually
we
one
wanted to
direction
show,
by
we
the
wanted to
church.
show all the,
Yeah, you
know,
don't
the
want to
older
show the new,
streets, you know,
right.
streets that kind of go back in time. You know?
In Newark, they just got lots, empty lots
Right,
now. All the
right.
buildings are gone.
That's a good place to film.
I just want to
be
say
honest
something
with you.
about Michael De Gennaro. I don't know if you guys know this, but he's an incredibly talented actor.
Yes.
I've seen him in many plays over the years, and we've always remained friends. And you know, he's with him and his wife Francesca and the kids. But when there was when we needed some people for certain scenes, I said, Michael, listen, it's not a huge part or whatever, but we'll put you in a few different scenes. And he's graciously said, yeah. I said, okay, start growing your
Oh, yeah.
your facial
Oh yeah, we
hair.
heard
Came
that.
with a beard.
He came here.
I said, start growing your facial hair, because it's going to
Believe me, I
place in
saw
the
him every
70s.
day. It was growing longer.
Yeah, he was talking. He was going like this.
Little
Don't
ear
play with it.
sideburns.
Yeah,
So when I
play with
saw
it.
him, I'm like, man, this guy can grow facial hair really fast. How did you
That's
do
a
that? It
good
was like
line,
one of
good
those
line.
commercials where they,
And
they-
Goguzzi will come in later. He said to me before, oh, here he is, Goguzzi.
Wait.
He says to me, he goes, man, my grandfather used to grow these big Goguzzas this big, and the tomatoes. I said, I guarantee you don't know this. He says, what? He says, I said, did you know that your grandfather used to soak the seeds in wine? He goes, oh man, I remember doing something like that. That was the secret that you never knew. Well, the wine is good for the blood. Okay, and in Naples we say, Avadiga the Vayitauza.
The wine's good for me too.
Wait a minute, which is very, very Neapolitan. That means the work takes out the blood. Uvina the metadre. The wine puts it back. So it had something to do with the wine.
Real quick,
No.
Federico, Michael, do we have an official release date of the film?
August 5th, it'll be in theaters and video on demand. It comes out same day release.
Okay, in theaters everywhere?
10 cities across the country. If you go to our website, which is brooklynbanker.com, the theaters are on there. And then it'll also be on Amazon, iTunes, it'll be Hulu, video on demand, which will be through Time Warner, Optum Online.
Are we going to see some commercials for it on national television?
You'll see,
No,
we'll
not
start to
national
see,
television.
not national television. We don't have the
To
budget
promote
for
it,
that.
No, that's a huge budget, man. You're talking about
Yeah.
We
Artie-
want
Artie will
all
take
your,
it.
no, we want all your viewers to go there. The more people that go
Listen,
see
I
it
promoted
early
it.
on,
I
the
promoted it more than you
the
can
farther
imagine
it'll go.
already.
That's it.
Listen, they might get on
Thank you
PBS.
for that.
We'll put it on PBS.
No,
You know
I-
someone over there, don't you?
A couple people, yeah.
Artie said he'll promote
He's
it
probably
himself.
dead
He's
now,
got.
but-
I'm sorry. I'm
no,
sorry.
it's
I cut
okay.
you
New
off.
York will be in on Long Island will be in Malvern Cinema, and then in the city will be in Cinema Village, which is on 22 East 12th Street in New York.
Listen, if my old boss was alive, Joe Franklin, he'd put it out there and help you out. Don't
I
believe me.
appreciate
With Joe
No.
Franklin, he'd help you out.
I'm telling you, I'm not kidding you. I love the trailer. I really did. And when I see something good, I try to promote it. I'm always around the tiny communities. We're doing feasts and
Playing
arms
cards,
and
playing cards.
I'm a New Jersey guy though, and Chacha always
Wait.
looked at me
Rest
as
his soul, right?
the
God bless his soul.
Freddie the Fireman from New Jersey.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
So I was
He
Freddie the
busted our
Fireman
balls.
from New Jersey.
Now, Cha-Cha was in the movie. We talked about that. He
Yes.
played. Yeah,
He was in the
played,
same scene I was in, right
He
behind.
played the
You remember?
bartender.
Right, I remember you
Bartender.
called me with
Great.
Cha-Cha.
I called you, I let you
put
talk
me-
to him on the phone.
He had a great because my father's in the
Yeah,
scene
God
with
rest his soul,
Cha-Cha.
man.
And,
No, he was the best.
And my father is 80, right? So they were singing, and he can't hear as well as he used to. So there was a scene where all he had to say was 11. That was all he had to say. 11. Pop. All you got to say is 11, right? So he says, okay. So we're sitting at the bar, and Federico's, and the action, and the guys are talking at the table, and then they say something, and then you hear silence. And I yell, pop! Pop! You gotta yell, because he can't hear. They're falling away. So God bless it. Cha-Cha says, listen, Mike. Tell you one thing. Put your hand there. Put your hand there. Put your hand. Says, listen, one thing. When it's time for you to say 11, I'm just gonna touch you. Right? And then he'd say it. The guy would say the line. He'd touch my ball. Say 11, 11, 11. He says, I screwed up my line. I said, Pop.
I lost sound.
You did okay.
Okay.
I said, don't worry about it, Pop. You're doing great.
It's
So-
funny when you say about that. We were there with Vinny Pastore at the little blood church next door, right? And then I said, because Vinny said, I don't want to do the show no more, so the Wiseguyz show was on Sirius.
I want to do the show no more.
Yeah, I don't get paid. I don't get paid. You know how Vinny is.
No, I don't get paid enough.
I don't get paid enough. So anyway, he's busting.
$4 a pound.
So Cha-Cha, me and him are talking. He goes, hey, Swami, I'm going to have you the show. You can do it. You and your boys, you're doing a good job. God bless you. So all right, here comes Vinny. He goes, fuck you. We got to get paid for this. All of a sudden, we're at the San Gennaro feast, and a guy is like, Cha-Cha's worker gave her free sausage and pepper. And he goes, I saw that, you fuck! Give me, you got it out of your pocket! And then Vinny goes, what? Where's there, a sausage and pepper sandwich? I never lived so hard in my life.
Well,
And then the priest next door, now, you remember the priest next door, the little guy? He was old and frail. He was drinking wine like there was no tomorrow. We're drinking...
Kind of like you.
Yeah. Hold on. We're inside the church, and our friend James Napadano was alive back then, and they had all the wine, right? And we put the ice. You know where they put the holy water? We put ice in there, and we put the wine. That's sacrilege.
Bringing up that scene.
I think that they might have a problem later on with that.
That was actually the scene that it was in, sitting at,
Yeah.
back from the neighborhood playing cards.
Yeah.
And he was in the back. And then I was starting to share a story with James Napadano, as we grew up with each other, with Freddie. And he goes, man, James, yeah, he was good. He was a good guy. He was a good guy. And I was sharing a story with him, and then finally he comes out and the phone rings. He goes, because we were on break, it was cut. And he goes, oh, I'm over here on the set here with Federico Castelluccio over here in this film coming up, Lily of the Feast, and he was all excited about it in the back. At that point, well, you got to mention, there's a lot of great talent in this, right?
Amazing.
We got to mention Paul Savino.
Yes.
This is my moment. This is my moment with Paul Savino.
When I met Paul, remember we were singing in
You
there?
guys were singing together.
Well, let me just put this
duet
in.
with
Paul
Paul.
Savino, you made me smile more than anything when you told me that you were a true Napolitan. I didn't really know where you were from originally in Italy. I knew that you're a talented actor. I knew that you're an amazing singer. So, in that social club scene, it was very hot. And they couldn't run the air conditioning, otherwise it would be picked up, sound would be picked up. So that scene, cut! All of a sudden, I see him walking into a high chair and he grabs the fan and he puts it in front of me. So I'm sitting there, because that's what I got to do. I got to sit there and wait, for the scene to come up. And I just see all this activity, amazing activity in this small room, similar, not this small, but in a small room, and there's all this action. And I look over to the right, and there's a cooler there full of water, and I said, he's got to want some water. And he looks like he's overheating over there. So I said, you know what, this is my moment. Signor Sorvino, una botella de aqua. Now he didn't just say he didn't just wave me over like that, because he wanted some water. He went, he's waving me like put out the fire. So I picked up the bottle. It was my moment. I connected with him. He said, grazie. I said, prego. About 15, 20 minutes later, cut. He does the same exact thing. He walks over to the high chair. He pulls the fan in front of him. So I said, I guess, I'll ask him again. Signor Sorvino, un altro bottiglia di acqua. Again, he does the same thing. This time when I walk over, this was a great moment. Federico comes in. He realized I'm walking over to him and figured that's a good time to introduce me. Now, I'm thinking Federico's talking about to Paul Savino. He's telling me about Paul Savino being a great singer, right? He goes, "This is my friend from Napoli. He's a great singer." And in that moment, he says, "Oh, really?" He says, in perfect Neapolitan, "Mai sentito la canzone mezzo grande?" I was like, "Oh, this guy speaks perfect Napolitan." He's saying, "Did you ever hear that song in the middle of the grain?" And then he just belts it out. I was like blown away, remember?
Yeah, I remember.
And everybody on set froze like, what's going on?
We got to cut it short. Sorry.
Anyway, that was a great
Now this is you got a little
Unfortunately, he's going to remember you as his water boy.
In theaters, August 5th. August 5th in theaters. The
No
Brooklyn
problem, anytime,
Banker.
Paul.
Rated R. Directed by Federico Castelluccio. Written by Michael Wiseguyz. Starring Troy Garrity, Paul Sorvino, David Prova, John Bianco, Artie Pasquale, Michael DeGennaro, Jumpin' DeGennaro in theaters.
Elizabeth Masucci.
August 5th, check it out. We want to thank everybody for coming in tonight. The Brooklyn Banker. Check out the trailer and go to theaters and check it out August 5th. Thank you, everybody.
Where's the red carpet? Wait, hold on. Where's the red carpet?
SVA Theater. Right carpet's SVA Theater, August 2nd.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Well, if you can squeeze us in, we'll always be welcome. We'll promote everything
It's
we
up to
can
Mike.
for
Don't
you.
look at me, man.
Thank you, everybody. This is the Wiseguyz Show. We're going to be back after this with Dominic Mancino calling on the phone.
Everybody.
Check us out, the Wiseguyz Show on TuneIn and DDVRadio.com. We'll be back after these messages.